Hi, I'm Barry. Now we've done our practicing on our small panel, it's now time to transfer those skills onto a panel door. So again, we've got our master marbler and engrainer, Andrew Holland from Holland Finishes, and he's going to show us a few techniques of what we can actually do to this door here. This is just a basic sort of 6-panel door that you can get from any of your DIY shops. We've coated it up in a few coats of eggshell. So over to you, Andrew, and just sort of work your magic on it.
Great, thanks Barry. Today we're going to work on these panels here, and we'll work on those applying a burr effect, with a burr oak effect. Yeah. And then on the straight grain on here we'll apply some knots and some texture to the wood grain to give that realism that it's a real piece of oak. So to start with, we're going to apply some scumble glaze to the panels. So I'll start with this panel here, just so everyone can see clearly. So I'm using a Lucas brush with a Chinex bristle, and I'm just applying this glaze to the surface. Just a very, very thin coat.
So that looks a little bit thinner than what we've used in the other video.
Yes, yeah, I'm just applying it very thinly to the surface, and then we can work our other colours into that to create the effects that we want to do. So that's the first stage, and then going on with these colours.
So if we refer back to the video in the panel, for the panel of the imitation oak, then you can get all the colours from there.
Yes, that's right.
And we'll put a link to those at the bottom of our of the video.
Okay, great. So we've got some ochre here. So I'm just going to randomly, it's slightly different to doing the straight grain, because we want to create a burr effect. The colours will be random rather than just a straight grain. Okay, so we've started with that one there. Then we're going to go on to the raw umber, and then we'll just brush that into the surface. And then in a moment we'll blend these colours together.
So these are just sort of random at the moment then?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we just want to just get the colour on to start with. There we go. I'll probably just add a bit more ochre on there.
And how long did you sort of typically take for you to actually do one of these doors?
If it's just a straight grain, you could do it in 3 stages. Each stage would probably be about 30 minutes to an hour. We've just got the general colour on the surface now, and what we'll do now, we'll blend these colours together. We're just going to load up this brush a little bit, and I'm just going to soften and blend. This is a hog hair softener, and we're just creating a stippled effect in here for the time being. Okay, right, so we have the 3 colours on there to start with. What we have now is the Van Dyck brown colour, and to start with I just want to put some knots into the surface. So it's a very similar technique to how we do burr walnut as well. So I've just got some plastic here, screwed it up, and just applying the neat Van Dyck brown acrylic colouring, and then you kind of get clusters of knots within a burl. Some people call it a burr or a burl. So we're just going to gently apply that to the surface, and where that kind of darker area is there, I want to make that naturally kind of an area where we've got knots. So we've kind of just got a random kind of selection of knots there, and then what we'll do now, this is when it makes it more realistic, we'll blend these knots into the existing surface paint.
Wow.
Nice and effective.
You can really see the depth in there already, and you say this is about 4 different stages, 3 different stages.
Yes, yeah, we can do 4 different stages and get even more realism.
Yeah.
So what I tend to like to do is also quite often when it's a veneer in a burr oak, the veneer naturally cracks when it dries. So we generally like to use the end of the brush and put some cracks in the burrs. and then not all of them, but generally the bigger ones. And then when we soften it again, you kind of get that depth, and that's what makes it realistic. And then after that, we can use different brushes. We've got a pencil overgrainer here, and which is made up of 3 brushes in one handle. And what I like to do, this is how like a bird generally is. You kind of work around these clusters and kind of creates these kind of a wood grain within around the clusters. And we just add a little bit of colour, a bit of Van Dyke brown and a bit of the other colourings that we've had. And it can be quite random the way the wood grain works around the burls. Like that. And then once we've done that, we can soften it again with the badger softener. And then we can just gently drag, just using the tips of the brush and just dragging that paint. And that's what gives us our burr effect.
It's brilliant, Andrew, thank you. Right, so that's one panel done. Andrew's now going to complete all the other panels, and then we're going to do the straight grain.